Welcome back, Elden Ring fans, to another video. Shadows of the Erdtree will be launching in June 21st of 2024 this year. So, what do we have planned for that? What is going to be shown? What can we expect? Now, I know a lot of people are breaking down the trailer right now, but I kind of wanted to show off some of the older aspects of the older games. There's a lot of other things that we can take out of those older games and pretty much expect in the new game, in Elden Ring. That's the latest release. We've had past releases that have had multiple DLCs, and with From Software, they have always been phenomenal. They've always had some spark to add to the game. New weapon types, armor, enemy variants, bosses, new locations, and I would like to look at the past games for a sort of reference. So we're going to go ahead and look at one of the games that have very big controversy among the Souls fans, which is Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is a phenomenal game in its own right, but it does have its flaws. I am one of those people who deem this a little lower on the list of Souls games simply because of that fact. But you cannot tell me that the game, for being how old it is and being on 360, that this game, and PS3, that this game does not look phenomenal. Look at how amazing and stunning this is if you are able to go the distance. Now, with Elden Ring, we're allowed to go to all those areas. We're allowed to go and see all those things. We're allowed to just hop on torrent and ride across the entire game. We can climb those mountains and do those things. In this game, we had a little bit of a limit, but imagine what they had in store. Now, of course, all these areas you can actually go to when you see the buildings and other stuff like that, but it's not in depth with how Elden Ring does it. It's not as adventurous, it's not free roam, but there are so many cool segments where I was just like, man, I don't know what I don't know what I'm looking at, or I'm just so dumbfounded by what I am seeing. So, look at the shipwrecks and stuff like that. I was hoping we could see something like this in Elden Ring. When it came down to all those ships you could see on the maps and stuff. And we don't know, since Miyazaki said that it was going to be a separate map. We don't know if it's going to add anything new to the original map either. This is a very big update. If it's going to be 60 gigs, that means Elden Ring's going to be about that's going to be 120 gigabytes. I'm pretty sure Elden Ring itself is only 60 gigabytes. So you can't just tell me they're going to add one map and it's going to be the size of Limgrave without so much more content, because there's something they're not showing us. Of course it is. That's how it always is. Now with Scholar of the First Sin, this is the base game area, but let's go ahead and look at some of the DLC where I'm talking about, where they have a stunning view when you come in, and it completely blows you away. You're not knowing what to expect, and all of a sudden you're finding an underground city that just keeps going and going and going. And I could look at it all day. I could sit here and just think about how that civilization worked and all that nice stuff, but we also have tons of new enemies and bosses. I'm not going to show them off because, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. If you haven't played it, seriously, I know it's a pain in the ass when it comes to handling the game, but it is definitely worth at least one playthrough. Everybody deserves to have that experience. But as you can see, we can go down there. Even down to the very bottom, we actually go up that piece, going into that tower on that long-ass bridge we just seen. And what do you expect whenever you go down to new areas? You're going to find some small or new, even giant enemies that are going to attack you. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm not going to go too in-depth. The difficulty spikes in the DLCs. That's another big thing you need to expect from the Elden Ring DLCs, is going to be a huge difficulty spike. I don't remember exactly how they're going to do it. I know I've heard they will be implementing something sort of along the lines of Sekiro when it comes to collecting a sort of item that helps you raise your attack potential during a fight of a boss fight, maybe for the area. I'm hoping it's not always like that, because I don't want to have to feel like I'm nerfed whenever I have a character that I've made purposely for the DLC. And I've spent a long time making this character, and I haven't leveled them up too much because I want to go through the DLCs like that, but also because other people will be at certain levels still for multiplayer. Now, another area that we also have is Elam Lois. Now, this is a really Beautiful area. It has one of the best final bosses, if you don't count the snow area with the unicorns. But I don't want to talk about that because, like I said, no real big spoilers there. But this game is very special when it comes down to design. I think that if Dark Souls 2 had a chance to have a good engine and it still had the areas and layout of the game, but it still had the heart that it was trying to have, that Dark Souls 2 would be the best Souls game ever. I think that it is absolutely phenomenal. The design that they have in these games are just absolutely breathtaking. Everything that you see, you can pretty much go to. And this is, like I said, it's an older title. It didn't come out on the 360, or it came out on the 360. It didn't happen to come out during the next gen. And now, speaking of next gen, we have the Xbox One Dark Souls 3, and the PS4 Dark Souls 3. This game also is one of those graphically demanding games, but it was also absolutely stunning. I mean, you could go through the painted world of Ariandel and wish that you were in that world, even though it's so freezing cold. You would love to see something in real life that looked like this. It would be absolutely breathtaking, and it just is phenomenal. You can go down to the very bottoms. You can go to those villages down there, the houses down there, the town. You can come up to the church. You can pretty much go anywhere. The Drang Heap. I'm not going to go too far into the Drang Heap because if you haven't played Dark Souls 3, shame on you. Go play it right now. Because you can see some phenomenal ass areas. Look at all the castle-like pieces that are spread throughout this entire world that they created for this DLC. This is the Ring City DLC, and it just is stunning. There are new enemy types. I'm not going to mess with that enemy because they will absolutely obliterate me because of my new game. But look at this stuff. It's wild. It's absolutely wild, the creativity that FromSoft has when it comes to their games. You can tell they put heart into them, and they strive to do the best they possibly can, and I am expecting that with Shadows of the Erdtree. I definitely expect them to blow it out of the water. You can already see it with some of the art that they've already given us, through the trailer, and I'm expecting that we'll see something just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than the past DLC. And of course, if you guys like content like this about Elden Ring, making builds or going over just the DLC before it comes out, or even going over the DLC afterwards, please like and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.